can't choose our consequences, but we can choose our choices. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I feel like we gotta choose our choices more wisely. So I tell youth, man, before you pick up that gun, man, think about the time that's gonna come with that. That one gun conviction can lead to a whole bunch of landslides of convictions where you're in and out of prison for half of your life. This dude that been in and out of jail that only had like a year on the street between the age of 12 years old and 40. That only been out the streets for a year straight. The rest was in and out of prison. So it's like, you don't want to be one of those guys, or you don't want to be a guy like me that I came and sat down. I did 3 years, came out, and 18 months later, I'm doing a natural life sentence, and I've been 18 years straight.
Ain't got a moment when they see you down, there's no they love and all.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bounce Back Podcast. I am your host, B. Luke. I got a special guest with me today, calling in live and direct from the Massachusetts Department of Corrections. So, bro, why don't you tell the people your name, where you're from, where you're at now, and a little bit about your situation.
All right, y'all, man. This is Smokes, man. That's what I was known as in the streets when I was home. But now I go by Valentino. My last name's Facey. I'm from Cambridge, Massachusetts. I'll be 40 in October on the 5th. And I've been incarcerated going on 18 years this month on the 29th. I'm locked up right now, currently on joint venture, which basically, to sum it all up, is they deemed me an accomplice in the courtroom, saying that I wasn't an alleged shooter, but I assisted him. So I ended up getting a life bid for that role that they said I played in my case. So I can speak a little bit to that, but I can give you a little bit of backdrop of how I came up first,
Okay.
Growing up in Cambridge.
Well, let's first just explain what is joint venture for the people who may not know.
All right, so joint venture is when the Commonwealth or other places they call it different things. So you might have heard of it from joint enterprise. Joint venture is basically, it says two or more people conspiring to commit an act. So my situation was a murder. So it was a joint venture to the murder. So what they said was I had a principal actor who they said was the actual person that committed the murder, and I played the secondary role, which they said I shared the same intent as the person they said that pulled the trigger. So basically, like, to sum that up, it's a lot of nonsense because when you look at it, it does more damage than justice because, like I said, they can just spin the story, and as long as it falls under their guidelines of what they say a joint venture is, they're able to convict you and give you the same punishment as the person that committed the murder. So I'm not convicted as the accomplice. I'm convicted as I'm actually the person that committed the murder, even though the court knew I was nowhere that person that did that. I was no way that it was possible, nearly like it was super impossible for me to be the triggerman. And they knew that, but they still pursued me in that light to get the same results as they did for the shooter.
And what did they give you for a sentence for people that don't know?
They gave me, for the murder, I had 3 additional charges altogether. So I had first-degree murder. They found me guilty of first-degree murder under the joint venture as extreme atrocity and cruelty. And I had second subsequent on career criminal, and I had attempt to commit a crime. So those are my 3 charges.
And what was the sentence?
The sentence for the murder was natural life sentence. For the second subsequent, I got a 4 to 5 year sentence. And for the attempt to commit a crime, I got a 4 to 5 sentence for that too as well.
I
got a 4 to 5 rank concurrent and 4 to 5 on after from a life bid.
Wow. Why is it important for us to raise this awareness about joint venture?
I feel like it's important because just like me and most of the people that's in my situation, we never knew what joint venture was because I was in charge of joint venture. So it was like it was a little bit of trickery involved because like they don't have to give you basically so let me break it down. There's a situation called due process. A due process is basically saying that you're getting a notice to know what charges that is pending against you, and you can form your defense against all the allegations that they're using against you. See, with the joint venture theory, they didn't have to do that. They waited all the way to the end of my trial to ask for that instruction to be read in front of the jury, which is a confusing instruction even for those that, like myself, I've been in 18 years and I still can't fully grasp what that instruction is guiding people to do, but it's working in their favor because they're getting tons of convictions because there's so many people sitting here doing life sentences for murder they didn't commit. So, like, the due process, like I said, it's a violation with that because you don't know, like, up until the trial, I thought they were going to try me as saying that I was the one that did it. But that was never their case. They just got all the benefits of charging me with it where I don't get no bail. I'm sitting in the county for 2 years until trial with no bail all the way up. And then they decided that they wanted to pursue the accomplice role of me being the secondary. So with joint venture, I feel like people need to be privy to and understand that you could easily fall victim to this because you're not knowing, you're thinking like, man, I didn't kill nobody. There's no way I'm going to go to jail for life. That's not according to joint venture. You'll definitely be doing an elbow. You know what I'm saying? You'll be setting up because you don't know no better. This is the thing that we're up against. When they're saying that a murder occurred and they, like I said, they can prove that more than one person did, even if you went into that situation not knowing that a murder was going to take place, they'll still hold you to that standard as if you did, and you're going to get that time. So it's very important, especially for dudes that coming up in the inner city, whether you're black, but that's majority. You know, I've seen maybe 1 or 2 white joint ventures in my whole time being locked up. So majority of the people I've seen that I walk by day to day is usually going to be an Asian person, a black person, or a Hispanic person. Those are the main people that's really targeted by this situation. So that's why I feel like that demographic needs to really pay attention to all the things that's going on around this, the way we're organized and trying to bring light to this. Because you, like I said, just because you think you didn't do the action, you think you're good. That's not the case, you know?
Wow. So is it fair to say, too, the lawyer has one defense kind of scripted and planned out going into it, and then this is almost like a curveball, audible, adjust and adapt, and that seems like it's probably a problem for the defense. Is that correct?
That's a fact. Because think about it, you spend 2 years, and you're like, all I got to do is paint the picture that I did that. Everybody else painted. They already painted this saying I didn't do this, so it shouldn't be hard to go in there and convince the jury I had nothing to do with this murder. So it's like you said, I'm sitting there and I'm fighting, and then it's like, hold up. It's like imagine you going into a boxing match, and you think it's a boxing match, so you know you're prepared to take a couple of punches, but then your opponent is able to throw a kick. Like they didn't tell you it was a kickboxing match. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they put a wool from underneath me and supposed to work from underneath me by saying, like, you know what? Yeah, you didn't do it, but we're going to say you're an accomplice, and that's going to be enough because we're going to get the same punishment, the same time out of you as if you did do it. So it's usually like the tool that what I feel like they like to keep it around for is because a lot of times they'll, like, if there's 2 more people, usually the person that knows he didn't kill nobody, he's willing to turn state evidence against his co-defendant just to save himself. You know what I'm saying? So they use that tool basically like, all right, you don't want to help yourself, then you're going to get the same situation that your co-defendant's facing, you know?
Yeah, I was just actually about to bring up the co-defendant situation. In your experience, have you seen like this cause like discontent maybe amongst co-defendants, or is that something that you think is likely to happen? Possible at least?
It definitely can happen because, like I said, you can have a real legit situation. Like, say, for instance, all right, so felony murder, I want to speak a little bit to that too because that basically goes hand in hand with joint ventures. So basically, so for example, say me and you, like, we decided hypothetically we're gonna go rob a 7-Eleven. We both agreed to that. So we go in there, and you know, your mindset's on just the robbery, and then my mindset is like, you know what? I don't want to leave any witnesses, and I totally make the decision to kill him, the clerk. You're automatically gonna fall victim to my actions, even though you didn't agree to that, and we didn't even speak and discuss it beforehand, and that can really put a situation between us because I did what I did, and I didn't expect this to happen to you because, you know, I'm totally thinking like they got to prove whoever did it, so we both got a chance to beat it. But then you're sitting there saying that your charges is murder, and you had no, that could easily pit co-defense against each other and make you look at like, oh, this is your fault, I'm in this situation, and it can put a strain on the relationship that y'all had before, you know?
And also, it seems like there's instances from what I know that sometimes that the joint venturer will actually get a harsher penalty, a harsher sentence than the principal. Is that, how does that happen? How does that happen, in your opinion?
So my opinion, I can explain. You, like I just said, so say for instance, I'm the person that committed the killing. In my mind, I'm like, yo, they got so much evidence against me. I'm gonna try to get the best plea deal I can get. So if the DA throws a plea deal at me for me to paint the story that they're looking for, and then you're like, yo, I didn't kill nobody, so I'm going to trial with this. You already admitted that you did it, that I did it. So you're thinking you're good, you're off scot-free. And then next thing you know, you go to trial and you get hit with the joint venture and you get convicted. Now I'm the one with the plea, then I get out. And then you're sitting in prison for the rest of your life trying to get back on the appeal, you know what I'm saying? So that's one of the ways that it goes wrong. Another way, this is why I say joint venture is so messed up and it's so loosely used, is that how I just explained what it takes to make a joint venture. We have certain dudes that serve time for joint venture where they never established who the person was that did the killing. So they have two co-defendants going to trial as joint ventures together. So, because how is that possible when you're saying that you had to share the mind state of the killer, the person that actually committed the crime? So, if you never established that, how do you establish my guilt? If you never even established who did it or the person that you're saying is responsible for that. So, there's been times where people that was joint ventures where the person who was in my position went to trial before the actual person that committed the murder. And then they got established guilty before that person did. So it's like that kind of it's like a catch-22 because it's like, how is that possible when my situation is based off of the mind state of the person that committed the murder, you know? So how do you establish my guilt before even establishing that person's guilt?
Wow. That's wild, man. And I appreciate you calling in, man, and giving your story. So just tell me, why is it important for you to tell your story, man? Why do you want to tell your story on this platform?
I feel like it's just important, bro, because this is a great time for people to really understand the workings of our criminal law system. You know, me as a joint venture, and I speak for a lot of us, where I'm not saying that just because I didn't kill anybody, I wasn't supposed to be held accountable for my actions. Yeah, by any means, I should be held accountable for my actions. If they say the Commonwealth stated that in my situation, speaking for myself, that I instigated a situation that led to somebody ending up losing their life, I'll take responsibility for that.
Gotcha.
You know what? I made a mistake. I didn't understand that this was going to take place, but it ended up taking place. It's unfortunate that individual lost his life. And I'm sorry for him and his family and his loved ones that got to go through the pain and suffering of missing him and wishing he was still here. But I can't feel the guilt of somebody that actually killed somebody because I didn't kill anybody. But yet I'm labeled a murderer. And I don't think that's fair for dudes that's in my situation where it's like, you know, you didn't take nobody's life while you held to that standard. So I feel like with people knowing, we can basically reach out to the people that can make this change and stop them from continuously taking people's lives away in the sake of saying it's for justice when it's really not for justice. It's for career-based reasoning why DAs are getting higher promotions or whatever the case may be, or higher pay. I don't know what goes on in their changes, but there's a reason why they're doing it, and there's a reason why it's effective. And there's a reason why they're trying to downplay that it's not doing nothing that it's not supposed to do. And that's the thing that I want to help shed light on, because there's so much going on in the world today with misjudged. So look how many people coming home after 30 years, 40 years, and you find out this person was innocent.
Yeah.
You know, that's tough. Those are years that a lot of these guys ain't never going to get back.
Yeah.
And it's and it's continuing to happen, and we're hearing it all over the country. So I feel like now's the time when people see that these things have happened, that they can realize that the justice system really needs to be remodeled and revamped again and go back to square one, be dismantled and start over fresh, and really hold people, not just the criminals, but the people that are taxing these laws to the highest standard of it. How you guys breaking rules, but yeah, you're trying to lock us up and saying that we did this in society, and that's why we need to be taken out of society. So, you know, I feel like this whole thing needs to be cleaned up.
Absolutely, man. And every time I talk to you, bro, especially considering your circumstances, you always seem to have such a positive attitude. How do you remain to be so positive?
You know, keeping it rack, man, what really helps me, bro, is I have a strong support system out there, bro. I got people just counting on me to be a better man than I was yesterday, and they holding me accountable to that. You know, I came in, I'm not gonna lie, I came in, you know, like I said, you coming in here on a life bid at 23 years old, and you're told you about to die in prison. It's why am I following these rules? I didn't kill nobody. I might as well just be on some asshole shit, you know, not caring about nothing. And I realized how far that was getting me in here. Years are going by, and I'm calling the streets, I'm in the hole. They're like, yo, what you in the hole for this time? And when I'm seeing that my guys are disappointed in me, that kind of struck a light in my eyes and really yo, really reflect on what you're doing right now. Think about it.
Yeah.
And I just had to sit back and do a lot of self-reflecting, reading books I normally wouldn't have read, having conversations I would never would have entertained in the past. and just like, building on myself. And I just felt like that helped me once I tapped into that way of thinking and doing things. It just opened my eyes to like positive, like being positive, bro. Like I understand the powers of positivity and negativity, and just really locking in on the positive aspect to really make something happen. Like I really want something to shake from the tree.
Yeah.
And it's like if I don't work on me and try to like be the best version of myself, then I'll set myself up for failure.
Absolutely, man. And that
you have 1 minute left.
Okay, so you were talking about the support system and having people out here on the streets to support, but talk a little bit about the support system that you have on the inside there at MCI Norfolk.
Well, that's what I got here, man. I got I'm a part of the group called We Are Joint Venture United. So that's the core base of us that's addressing this issue. I'm a part of the AACC, so that's that's the African American Coalition Committee, and we based on it's not just because you're African American. That's the only thing we're based off of. Like we're for everybody. It's like no matter if you white, black, Spanish, if you're being violated in prison, we speaking up for that. You know what I mean? So we're trying to really help change laws. That's like the first place that opened my eyes to legislation. I didn't understand the power that we had as dudes being locked up, that we have a voice. Like the whole time I didn't realize it's like, yo, we've been going to the courts and trying to address all our issues based off of appeals, motions. And it's like, yo, we're doing this and we're getting shot down, we're getting denied and all this. And it's like, we can go above that. We can go to the people that actually make the laws. So it's like, once I figured that out, I was like, oh, this is a game changer right here. Like, I didn't know we really had that much power to really sway people to look into these things that we're trying to address and really put motion behind it. So that right there in itself was amazing to me, just being a person that's incarcerated, feeling like you don't got no voice, to actually having a voice. So that was powerful in itself. With the people, the individuals that I'm around in here that's constantly doing that work, man, working on themselves. It's like Norfolk, I'm not gonna lie, I did time in the Max Susan. It's a way different ball game on how dudes is doing time up there compared to here. Like dudes down here really want to see you do something with yourself and help. Up there is everybody's on trouble time. They gang banging, they're doing this, they're doing that. Yeah. But here dudes is really trying to give you that juice to get out of prison and really do something with yourself. So that's what support I really have in here with the fellas doing the same type of work I'm doing,
Yeah, why is it important to have that too?
I feel like it's important because if you don't got that in here, you gotta start here. It's not just gonna automatically happen on the streets once you touch down. So it's you gotta do that work in here. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the more you around dudes that lead by example, as soon as I got here, dudes didn't give me a chance to want to mess up. Cause he was like, yo, we got this group over here. I'm a part of this thing called Second Thought, which is geared at talking to at-risk youth that's out there committing crimes at an early age or getting kicked out of school, and they on their way to basically becoming the future us. We're there having conversations, building with these kids, letting them know yo, you got a second thought. Listen to my narrative. This is what I went through in my life, and this is we got so much in common, and you could easily be this, but you could be better than that also. You know what I'm saying? So we try to give them that juice to understand. Listen, man, your life is it might feel like the world's against you out there, nobody wants to hear you. But we hear you, we see you, and we see the good in you. And you should see the good in yourself, you know what I'm saying? So we try to lead by example. That was a powerful thing in itself to be able to be a part of that. Giving back, just giving back in that capacity is mean, it's something great.
Absolutely, and great, and it's purposeful too, man. So speaking of the youth, let's just bring it back a little bit to your youth and your childhood growing up. I guess we'll just start at the home. What was it like at home as far as the family, brothers, sisters, both parents?
All right, so for me, my pops and my mom, they divorced now. Is probably 1 year old. So my pops ended up moving to Florida. So out here in Cambridge, I was raised with my mother and my grandmother. My grandfather was around for a little bit until he passed. He passed I want to say sometime either 93, 94, somewhere around there, maybe even 95. But for the most part, I was raised by women. So my mom's best friend was considered my aunt. I was raised by mad women. I had a couple uncles around. But for me, the example of men in my household, I would say be my cousins that I seen in past, they live next door to me in the house next door. They was making a name for themselves in the street. So my pops, he had a little name for himself out here before he went to Florida, and my uncle had a name for himself So that was like kind of like the example I felt growing up, like a man supposed to make a name for himself in the streets and get that respect, you know?
Yeah. So having family in the streets, was it ever a thing when you were younger coming up, having family members incarcerated?
I had one of my uncles was incarcerated. He did 5 years because he had got stabbed, and then he had ended up catching up with a dude that stabbed him and stabbed him back, and that dude turned Satan on him, and he ended up doing his bid. But he learned from that bid. He wasn't like an in and out type of dude. So I was his first and last bid. And my cousin, he did a bid real quick for INS because he was born in Jamaica. So somebody else caught a case, used his name, and they didn't want to do the right thing at that time. So he ended up just like waiving his rights and so like it just shipped me back to Jamaica. So that's what ended up him. But like I really didn't have like the situation where like people was doing drugs in the household. I came up in a pretty good household, like working class. People was like, you know, like my family, they was very tight knit. So it's like that was basically like, you know, just raised in a Jamaican household was like a little different. Like we had different values from a lot of like African Americans, just the way Jamaicans bring their kids up with certain type of like mannerisms, respect when it comes to adults. We don't really like discuss certain shit. So I didn't really have one of them households where I feel like I talked with my moms and my mom's about certain shit. You feel me? Like I used to have to keep that to myself because it's just like a kid staying in a kid's place. That's how they always brought us up, you know?
Okay, so talk about growing up in Cambridge a little bit, and what part of Cambridge you grew up in.
Okay. Well, I was, man, born and raised in the port, man. I'm from the port, but I used to always be over there by like Darby Hill, so like around the east. East in the port section is my main section. So I used to play Little League over there. So like, but just growing up in the port, it was just like I just remember being like with a bunch of like Haitian kids, running around Ethiopian Somalians, so I like mostly like on islands, a few Jamaicans and stuff, like Trinidadians, it's just like a lot of the islanders was race like based in my section really. So I like when I used to go to like east, I'll be mostly around like the Cape Verdean, Portuguese, the Irish, Italians, Brazilians, all that around there. So that's like the Cambridge I remember just being mad diverse, you know?
For sure. So what elementary school did you go to and everything?
So I went to a couple. I went to Maynard.
Okay, yep.
I went to Fletcher. I went to Agassiz. Those are my and Longfellow. Those are my schools right there.
How were you as a student in elementary school? Were you did you take to the work easily, and did you get in trouble?
I ain't gonna lie, I was one of them bad. I was like not bad as in like cussing the teachers out and doing stuff like that, or like, but I was like, I think I might have had ADD and stuff because like my attention span was like short. Like if something like really didn't like strike me as interesting, I'll be trying to figure something out in classes, so I'll be a little bit disruptive. And the teacher's like, yo, this kid's like, we gotta put him in like in a special ed class. So I ended up going like SPED classes. That's number being there, like, yo, there's a whole bunch of kids like me, like just running around here, just like not like caring about much. And then like I just remember like they was like, hold on, you know how to do the work. So it's like the work wise, like kind of like, you know how to read, you know how to like it's just like you choose not to. Like so I kinda like in the beginning, I wanna say all the way up to like 4th, 5th grade, I was doing all right, but I was like on my verge of being like class clown type stuff, you know?
And where did you go to high school? Did you finish?
Oh, so for me, I got sent to Florida to go live with my father in 97. So at that time, I just got out of 6th grade. I was going in the 7th. So I did 7th, 8th in my freshman year in Florida. And then when I came back in 2000, I did my 10th and 11th. I started my 11th grade year out here in Cambridge, Latin. But then I ended up getting kicked out. In the middle of my 10th grade year, I got kicked out. Then they gave me a notice saying that I'm allowed to come back for the following year. So I went back and I started 11th grade, and I ended up catching a robbery charge in the middle of my 11th grade, and I ended up going to Concord like a year later.
Wow. Did you skip the whole DYS thing? Did you catch any juvenile cases?
Yeah, I skipped that. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of my dudes was in and out of there. While the dudes I was growing up with was in and out of DY, so I think like that was like inevitable to go there. So when I caught my case at 17, I was like, oh, I'm about to go to DY then. And I remember the police like, nah, you ain't going to DY. You 17, you going to big boys now. So I'm like, wow. I was what? You ain't going to big boys. I'm like, I'm only 17. So I'm sitting in Cambridge County, and sitting there on a felony robbery charge because me and a couple guys, we got locked up for robbing Munchie's Sunoco gas station over in Central Square. So when we robbed it, we got caught in Brookline. So when I got caught in Brookline, I got caught with like guns, some money and all that stuff, and stuff that was at the gas station. So we all went down for that. So that was a felony. So instead of going to like back to Ridge and be able to graduate high school, I'm going to getting a W number in Concord to go do a 3 to 5 state year, a 3 to 5 state year bid.
So how long were you in county before that state bid?
I was in county for, I want to say, 13 months.
13 months. Okay. Did you go to trial?
Months, yep. No, I took a plea deal because they had overwhelming evidence against me. So I was like, I'm not going to play. I'm just going to take this deal. I got like the most time out of everybody. And dudes had like prior records. Yeah. So I used to like make a joke out of it because I didn't know what the DUI. So I was like, man, I'm LeBron James of the prison game,
Yeah.
Skip a county and DUI, go straight up state. So like that's like just how young-minded dudes was back then,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So talk about that experience when you first get upstate. Like, what's going through your mind?
Yo, that's a lot to take in, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, when I first came up, my mind said, like, I'm about to be up here with these gorillas. These dudes doing 25 to life. They doing this. Like, I'm like, what type of time I gotta be on? So I kind of like on some noises, but like just trying to be super observant to understand my surroundings. So once I got up there, a couple of older heads from on the way was up there. So once they bumped into me, they realized where I was from and who my people was. They automatically embraced me. They brought me like, yo, man, this is how we move up here. They started giving me the layout of the land. Yeah. So once I figured that out, I kind of like knew how to maneuver. I stayed out of this shit the whole time I was there. Like, I didn't get into no altercations. I ain't getting no fight. I just stayed out the way,
Where did they classify you to?
They classified me from Concord to Norfolk. How ironic, right back where it started at.
And then you said a 3 to 5. So was this a parole bid? Did you see parole?
Yeah.
What happened with parole?
I saw parole and I got it. So that's why I was out for 18 months on parole while I caught this case. That's the crazy thing about it. Because I was out for 18 months. I had another like 6 months to finish that up and I'd have been off the papers. Damn. But I ended up falling on this case.
Wow. So leading up to you get your parole, I mean, do you start developing some sort of plan when you get out?
That's why I went wrong. I ain't gonna lie. Like instead of like thinking like that to get a plan, I was like, you know what? I just lost 3 years of my life. I'm trying to get that back. So like 17 coming home at 20, I'm like, man, I got some years to make up. Instead of thinking like, yo, you might want to try to like get career based, like try to go to job corps, because I definitely had an offer to go to job corps, but I wasn't taking it serious. And it was like there was a couple of things that was lined up for me. I just wasn't locking in with it. Like just coming home and just happy to be back out free with the fellas,
So now you get out, you catch this case, and I think the last time I saw you in person was at Woburn Superior. I believe it was one of the court dates before then. So like, what's trial like as far as your mindset when you're facing such a so much time, man? Like in you're young at that time. Like what's going through your head, bro? Like and your mental health as well.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like that shit was heavy, man. Like I said, like my first bid was a cop out. So I didn't know what a child was. I didn't know how to prepare myself for this. So it was just like I knew this was like the fight of my life. So I'm like just going up every day, and it's like we picking the jury. It's like like I came in, I was educated. You know what I'm saying? I came in illiterate. So I only had only grade I finished was the 8th grade, really. The 9th grade, I finished the 9th grade. So the 10th grade, like I said, I got kicked out and then let back in the next year, and I still didn't finish my 11th grade. So it was like sitting in there, and I'm hearing all this like court procedure talk. And it's like things I never even heard, words I'm not even familiar with. It just felt like I felt hopeless, bro. Like I was like at their mercy. Like these people were just having their way with my life, and I don't even understand what's probably happening to me. But I feel like I'm getting set up to get sacrificed. You know what I'm saying? In front of these people. Like I just felt like I just remember opening statement, and when the DA gave his version of the events, and I saw the jury starting like cry and get emotional. And I remember telling my lawyer, like, yo, I'm not about to get a fair trial. I just look how they reacted to the opening statement. And I remember him telling me, like, kid, this is your first murder trial. I've been on plenty of the jury's gonna show these type of emotions and da. And I just remember like feeling like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna turn out good, you know?
Yeah.
And just going through that, my mental health, I just been like, I wasn't like familiar with that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's crazy. Like I just now, like within the last probably like 5 to 7 years, got really familiar with mental health in prison, like understanding the depth of how important this is, like that we be going through things, and it's like all the traumas that dudes carry. Like, you know, I carried trauma into trial, not understanding that that's what that was. And I just like that was just the way the streets was. Like you got to go up against things and you got to defy the odds. But like being, like you said, a young dude fighting for your life and not understanding the rights. Like I didn't even know, like they was doing sidebars. This things I'm learning later in life. Like they're doing sidebars, my lawyer, the DA, and the judge. And I didn't even know I can go over there and be at the sidebar. I was staying at the table waiting for them to come back.
Wow.
And fill me on what was discussed. So it's like little rights like that I didn't know. Like I didn't even know I could object. Like if my lawyer didn't object to something, so it's like little things that if I knew what I knew now, I'd have been implementing those things. You know, so it's like that's why I say like with a lot of people like coming up, young dudes, man, like taking a gamble with their life, playing in those streets, man. Like it's a dangerous situation that you're putting yourself in when you really don't understand what you're up against. Like, you know, nobody wins in that situation when you're playing with taking somebody's life or somebody taking yours. Like that's a game that dudes shouldn't even really be entertaining out there, because nobody wins in that situation but the court system. When you get caught and they sit here making all this money off of you, and then the hard times that your family got supporting you, it's like there's so many dudes here like that don't got support. That's also lucky and also positive, because I see the guys in here that don't got what I got. You know what I'm saying? And I feel bad for them, like that they sit here and they can't even pick up a phone and call anybody. Nobody's gonna pick up that call. So like when you're around that, that's a humbling experience for me. You know what I mean?
For sure. So you get the sentence this time. Where do you go next? Do you go to Concord again for classification?
So what happened was at this time, this was back in 2008. So I had to go to Concord, sit in the box. I had to sit in the hole for like as long as it took to get there. So for me, I sat for 10 days. And I was either going to go to Walpole or Shirley Max. I ended up going to Shirley Max, and my co-defendant ended up going to Walpole. So I remember going to Shirley Max, and I heard the stories about that. Like I said, I was in Norfolk, so this has always been a laid-back camp since I've been doing time here. Yeah. So going up to the Max and realizing, like, there's a whole bunch of gang time, like, gang stuff going on up there. And it's like, that right there was like, I'm not going to lie, that kind of set me up for the trajectory of how my bid turned out with me getting in mad trouble, because I became a part of that environment up there. I ended up getting involved with gang ties and really doing stuff and going to the hole for fights, getting jumping people, and going through the ring up there, you know?
Yep.
And it's like, and it's crazy, like that goes to show you like how like far gone dudes is, when it's like, yo, I just literally blew trial. I just lost and got a natural life sentence. The first thing should be, how do I crack this case open and get back in the court? I'm over here getting involved with gang fights, like not even thinking about my case no more. Like my lawyer's gonna take care of that. Like that's what they get paid for. That's how like it gets crazy when you got that mindset. You don't understand what you're up against. And like I'm here 18 years later, still trying to get that shot. So it's real, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and you're not the only one. Why do you think so many people have that confused mindset when they go up there? Is it just age? Something people grow out of? Is it a mentality? What do you think?
I think it's a mixture. So it's like a lot of times the wisdom comes with the age. Don't get me wrong. There's some young dudes that come in and they got it right off the rep. They ain't play no game. They understood what they was up against, and they locked into really trying to figure out how to be a better version.
We have 1 minute left.
It's like time flying, yo.
I know. You know? Yeah, call back. So you were talking about how some people, you know, even if they're young, they get it right away, right? How long did it take for you to eventually to get it, as you said?
Oh, for me, man, like it took me a minute. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like I want to say all the way up until like 2017. That's the last time I got to an altercation, physical. I got to a gang brawl.
Gotcha.
And that right there, I got like, they threatened to send me out of state when I started in the hole for like 7.5 months. That was like my wake-up call here. Because I was telling myself, like, yo, bro, I've been in since 2006. It's 2017.
Wow.
and I'm still getting in this shit.
And that
So I'm
was
like,
up the
yo,
max still?
Yeah, that was in the max. So I just got out. I just got out of DDU, and this time I'm like, you know what? Once I signed DDU for 8 months, I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm like, that's 8 months of just sitting to myself and like really just reflecting on where I'm going and what I need to be doing. So I was just like, that was like the turning point when I started to realize, all right, you gotta start shifting. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's dudes that's younger than me. I gotta be a better example in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially being somebody with a life bit. Everybody know I'm doing life. And like, they're like, man, you run around here like you doing 5 years. Like, you about to get out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what my mother saying, like, yeah, you trying to get out. But you doing everything to keep you in there. Like, what you like, you think they're gonna base you coming home right now off the action you're doing? You think they're gonna let you out? So when she said that, and I started thinking about it, I'm like, yo, she like, but in my mind, I still was like feeling like I was defying the court system because they did this to me. So I'm like, why am I following rules when they didn't follow no rules? They gave me all this time. You know what I'm saying? They ain't had no rules. So it's like I started to have like that rebellion stage. Like it was kind of like judging my character, my judgment, kind of interest. So I had to like really like snap out of that way and think it. So I want to say after 7.5 months sitting in the hole, I'm like, dang, I really did it this time. I didn't even do nothing. But my past is coming back to haunt me because of who I was before that fire. That they was like, you know what, we shipping you out of here like the rest of you do. So a few of my guys at the time ended up going to the Fed. So I ended up going to like Nevada, out of state, Minneapolis. It was all over. So I was just waiting for them where they gonna send me. And I told myself they let me out in Norfolk. I was in the whole head. I was like, they let me out in Norfolk. I'm gonna hit the ground running, really work on myself, do what I need to do to change. And that's what I did, man. As soon as I hit this ground, man, I ain't turned back, bro. I ain't went back to that whole thing. I've been doing all that shit that I've been meaning to do years ago, and I'm doing it now. Yeah. I'm like really focused now. You know, I'm like it's like a whole 360.
Yeah. Did you eventually get your GED? And when was that?
Oh yeah, man. I got that. And like 2011, I was like, that was one of my proud moments ahead, man. Yeah. Like once I got that, I felt good to be able to call home and tell my bros, tell mama love, man. Like y'all got it, man. Yeah. And just to hear how happy. Like that's another driving force. But I ain't gonna lie. Like when I used to call and like getting in fights, going to homebrew, all those type of things, I can hear the disappointment when they hear from me. I'm like, come on, man, you better than that. But then when I started calling, like, yo, I got my GED, and how excited they was for me, man, and I finished this group, I did this, I did that, and it was like just hearing how happy and psyched and hyped it was for me to do good. I was like, you know what? That's what I need to do. I gotta keep calling with good news. That bad news shit played out, you know?
Absolutely. So how long after you get out of DDU till you get to Norfolk?
So when I got out of DDU in March of 2018. Well, 2018, about August, that's when it came around. It's all up because two CEOs got assaulted in the max from what would have been considered my rival gang at that time. They ended up allegedly assaulting two staff over there. So there's like everybody that had gang ties that they felt was influences. There's like round them all up and send them to all the holes across the state. So I fell into that blanket. Because they're like, yeah, I've been in the max 3 times. Yeah. I'm well known in there. They know my affiliations. So it's like, yeah, you definitely. I was right there with them. So it's like they didn't want me back in that building because they felt like I pulled strings and had them doing stuff that they're not supposed to be doing and all that. You know, the influence.
Absolutely. So, what was your main message that you wanted to get across today?
My main message, man, I just want to say, man, if we go through life struggles, man, don't let it defy you. Just let that be strength to be better. Like, we need to be better than we did yesterday, man. That's for everybody. Like, it's but there's still good people out there. There's still good people. We just gotta tap into that. So I feel like people just gotta be more willing to understand other people's situations and not be quick to judge. That's why I feel like a lot of these things is why we're sitting in these positions, because so many people judge us and they don't know nothing about us. So I feel like people need to be in tune with human beings and understand that second chances is powerful. Like, there's people that really learn from these lessons. Like, I'm not the only one. I feel like so many people can go out there and contribute back to society that the prison system, that the Commonwealth, the court system threw away and buried us in here and like act like we don't got no potential. There's a lot of potential in here. So we just need people to really tap into that. So I just feel like people, man, just forget all that crime, shooting, selling drugs. It's just devastating the neighborhood. It's not building nothing. So I would just tell people, man, just be the best version of themselves.
Absolutely. And a lot of times there's this narrative about prison, or maybe like glorified in music and movies and TV and all of that. So just, for the people that don't know, why don't you just talk about the worst part about prison?
Yo, for me, I'm gonna keep it a rack. Like, especially like when you do my sentence, like when you do it life big, I want y'all to understand this. Like, when people die, you can't go say goodbye. You can't go to no wakes. You can't go to no funerals. That's like, when I lost my grandmother, that was like the most devastating blow I had in my life. Wow. When I lost her in here and couldn't even send her off and properly, like, give her my last goodbyes. Like, my uncles, countless friends that I met in here that went home and got killed. Everything, like, so many different people. Like, and it's like, just sitting here when you realize that you're in here and you're, like, basically, like, forgotten to a certain extent out there. Like not forgotten, but people's lives go on. That's one of the main things you got to realize, like, that when those doors close, it's just you in the cell, bro, and a lot of people can't come and save you, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? So this shit, like, the food's terrible. It's hot. We don't got no AC. I'm in a place that don't even got AC. Yeah. If you got a cold glass of ice water, you should be lucky right now, bro. Like,
Facts.
There's suffering in here to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Some people, like, we like, a lot of us, the thing that do the pictures, when we call home, we sound soldiers up. We make it sound like, yeah, man, we good in here. We're not really good. Yeah. We just portray that because we know if we weak in here, we can break y'all down out there, a lot of people. So it's like, we don't want y'all to worry. So a lot of times we'll fake the funk and act like we really good when we not. Like, I done had meltdowns in here, and then my people was like, yo, you know what? You've been on the right path, and we understand that mental health is real. So, we here for you. Just talk to us, let us know what you're going through. So I had those shit, so I know how real it is. I'm strong as hell, but I have my weak moments in here too, So it's like, it's real in here, man.
For sure, man. And just one more time, bring it back to the youth and everything you do with the youth. Was it second thought?
Yeah, second thought. Yep, second
thought. So
what's
the main message that you try to convey to those youth? Maybe for the youth that's out there listening to this, give them that same message.
So what I would love to convey to them, like, yo, y'all ain't the only ones. We all go through things, and listen, man, like, you could be better than all the bad things that people say about you, or the things that you might have did, or you think about doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, just understand that what you got comes with the consequences. We can't choose our consequences, but we can choose our choices. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we gotta choose our choices more wisely. So I tell you, man, before you pick up that gun, man, think about the time that's gonna come with that one gun conviction can lead to a whole bunch of landslides of convictions where you're in and out of prison for half of your life. This dude that been in and out of jail that only had like a year on the street between the age of 12 years old and 40. That only been out the streets for a year straight. The rest was in and out of prison. So it's like, you don't want to be one of those guys, or you don't want to be a guy like me that I came and sat down. I did 3 years, came out, and 18 months later, I'm doing a natural life sentence, and I've been 18 years straight. Yeah. So it's like, I traded 18 months for 18 years. It ain't working to me, you heard? So I hope it wouldn't be working to y'all. That's my message, man.
Absolutely, bro. Hey, it's been great talking to you, man. It's always good to hear your voice, man. So if I could just...
Likewise.
Yeah, if I could just get some closing words, man, or if there was anything that you wanted to touch on that I guess we didn't get a chance to, if not, just some closing words, man. And run down the social media too, if that's something, I know Joint Venture has one and everything too, and I'll post pictures too.
Okay. So I'm gonna say this, man. Please follow us on We Are Joint Venture United. We're gonna do a lot of advocating for this cause. We're gonna be educating the public. We hosting events, workshops, all types of things, man. So we love y'all to get involved, man. Just get familiar with it and understand how y'all can help and add on, man. Because every little bit counts. So whenever we got the bill coming up in January, I hope that y'all can get behind it and support it. And how y'all can support it is reaching out to y'all local state rep, city councilmen, and telling them, yo, we want to back that joint venture law up and how that changed. Because we're trying to really bring change and hope, open these doors and give people second chances that deserve it. So sure. I say, man, just stay true to yourselves, man, and keep doing what y'all doing. Keep working for the betterment of humanity, man. And And just know, man, people support y'all as well out there, and how y'all can help, man. Just stay tuned and listen, and just step up when it's time to step up, you know?
Absolutely. Any shout outs, my guy?
Shout out to the CMB, man.
You already.
Shout out to the Boston Celtics winning that chip.
Hey.
Fred Life, man. Fred Life, man. My guys, Millie, Sofa, Steve, Free SK, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you gonna keep going on, man. Free everybody, man, you know?
You heard it right there. That's my guy, Valentino. I am your host.
Free JoJo, man.
Free JoJo.
Free JoJo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man.
Free all the guys, man. And rest in peace to everybody who we lost along the way, for sure, yo.
Absolutely.
And that's my guy, Valentino. I'm your host, B. Luke. This is the Bounce Back Podcast. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, drop a comment. On that note, we out of here. Peace and love.
Bounce back, you got a moment when they see you